Hello, my fellow Naruto fans, and welcome back to another Naruto What If. Today we have another part to What If Kakashi went back in time that is slowly becoming What If Minato survived. Anyways, as always, before we start, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, enjoy. Also, don't forget to share, that does help too. Also, if you're here from all around anime, just wanted to say welcome. With that out of the way, play that intro.
With the fever dreams, I push a mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's you lost. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python grab what I like real fast, so until I have it.
Okay, so on to the forest of death, shall we? In the beginning, Naruto still goes away to do his business or whatever he did, and that waterfall ninja still takes his place. Sasuke still notices and battles him. That basically goes the same. So would eventually be done on his way to return, but he would be attacked by the two other waterfall ninja, who I'm just gonna call Waterfall Ninja 1 and 2. Waterfall Ninja 1 would tell Naruto he's coming with them since they're going to use him as a bargaining chip for his team Scroll. As Naruto would simply tell the two to go away, saying that they are far too weak. Put in the effort, as this will anger Waterfall Guy 2, who would jump straight at Naruto, attacking him with the kunai. However, almost in the flash, Naruto would appear behind him and would deliver a powerful kick to his back, sending him straight to the ground in a crater. Fall Guy 1 would attempt to take his leave, but was caught by Naruto as he would offer up his scroll in exchange for being let go, as Naruto would ask to see the scroll, and this would be the same one as theirs, so kinda useless to him. But Naruto would let them go anyway, going in the opposite direction before he'd hear screams in that direction really quickly. Some blood spurting on a tree nearby him, as Naruto would go to check this out and would find three people, this being the Sand siblings and the dead corpse of, those waterfall ninjas, with Gar being the one who did it. And Gar would spot Naruto and would tell him to come down from there, which Naruto would, and if things ever get too bad, he can just escape out of there with the flying regime. Girl would be the first to speak, saying that he gets to get his payback. Still remember when Naruto kind of just punched him back, him saying that this time there's nothing stopping him from killing Naruto and grabbing onto the bandage thing on his back. Naruto would say he doesn't mind putting Kankuro in his place, as Chimari would chime in, telling Naruto that he doesn't have to pretend to be confident, not like that he can beat all three of them alone. A sweat comes down Naruto's head as he kind of realizes she's right, but however, Gar would step in front of his siblings, saying that he wants to. Naruto himself, as Kankuro, but would be angry, but he kinda knows he can't exactly defy Gar, or he'll probably get killed, so him and Temari would stay back, and the battle between Naruto and Gar is to start. Naruto would initially try waiting for Gar to make the first move, but he'd just stare at him menacingly, as Naruto would begin to feel a bit of fear in Gar's murderous aura. Throw a shuriken at him, weaving some hand signs, and would cast a shadow shuriken jutsu, as a multitude of shuriken would appear for one and would attack Gar, as Gar would easily ward these off with sand, swiping them away, making them hit multiple trees, and Naruto dodge a few before having his foot grabbed by sand as is flinged into the air and swung around. Naruto would try using his kunai to cut it. This would work as he is thrown into a tree. And later, Naruto would be bombarded by sand and hit over and over again into that one tree, making that crater bigger and bigger. Over Rasengan Barrage, a bunch of Naruto clones would suddenly explode from that area, all holding Rasengans. Diving straight towards Gar would try mustering some sense to defend himself, and that's what worked for a while. However, someone finally bust through, and he would be hit upon Rasengan upon about 50 different Rasengans. One big explosion of blue happening as Naruto would deal him the final Rasengan of the attack himself straight to the guts, which would slam him into the ground. Without a word, Naruto breathing a bit heavily and asking if Gaara felt that attack. And after the dust was settled, Gaara would be on the ground with a few cracks on his face and a bit injured as he'd get up, covering himself in a giant sandball with Marin Kankuro kind of knowing what coming next and would kind of step back. Naruto would go on to attack this thing, however, would be stabbed as spikes would come from it. So he tries charging a Rasengan, however, he would have his arm grabbed out of nowhere by another arm made of sand and would be thrown into a tree as Gar would step out of the giant orb with him now being in his partial transformed state. And would also let off a psychotic laughter as from here we cut to Sasuke and Sakura's point of view. Here the two would be looking for Naruto and be wandering around while keeping their guard up, and would happen to stumble upon no other than Neji on the ground, as immediately they would take cover behind the branches of a tree. As Sakura would ask Sasuke does he think Neji spotted them, but would quickly receive her answer as Neji would tell them to come out, although this would be directed towards Team 10. Sasuke would say that he'll go distract Neji and fight him, and when he gives a signal, Sakura is going to have to come in and help. I have no objections to this and would agree as Sasuke goes to jump down before Team 10 will come out. Well, Ino will come out, attacking with a fireball jutsu, which Neji would jump away from. Sasuke, not done, would come down with his kunai to attack Neji, who would use his own to block it before calling that a pathetic attempt and knocking Sasuke away. Sasuke quickly catching himself and landing on the ground. Team 10 would kind of see this as their opportunity to bounce, so would leave, but back to Neji and Sasuke, and the two have a little bit of a talk before the two simultaneously kind of make the same offer, asking for each other's scrolls and offer of letting them go, and both of the nine get before they will both stop as a brief silence would go by, and with the wind blowing as Sasuke would immediately jump back and throw two giant shurikens straight at Neji. As Neji would get ready to easily dodge them, but would be surprised as they would all turn into smaller shuriken, enhanced with lightning chakra, all shooting straight at Neji. As Neji would forced to use rotation and all as for charging straight at Sasuke, and the two would activate their dojutsus at the same time and they begin to engage in some taijutsu. With Sasuke mostly playing defensive since Neji is a Hyuga and he kinda knows that he can't exactly have his chakra points be hit. But the two are pretty evenly matched. Well, Neji would have the slight advantage, but Neji is starting to overwhelm him and get his hits in, and blocking and hitting a few chakra points as Sasuke would likely be able to jump away in time into a tree as Sasuke would quickly move to his last resort and would cast the Chidori, charging it up as he would dash straight towards Neji in a blinding speed, who would barely notice him, although thanks to his Byakugan just in time he is able to see him as Sasuke appears right in front of him and use rotation to block the Chidori. With the two attacks clashing, however, he would be even more surprised when from under the rotation Sakura would appear and would deal a heavy blow to his back with a fist made from stone, this actually being a jutsu. And so this would stop Neji's rotation as he's hit from behind, and Sasuke would quickly strike him from forward, hitting him with a Chidori, him straight into a tree. As for good measure, Sasuke would cast another fireball jutsu and Sakura a long-range earth jutsu, kind of comboing off together like with a bunch of flaming rocks. which would hit Neji and would knock him out. With Sakura celebrating the victory along with Sasuke and two high-fiving as Sasuke would go check for if Neji has the scroll, which he would. He does have the one they would need. And so they quickly get out of there before the rest of Neji's team arrive as find a safe place and take a rest as they would just have to now go and find Naruto. As suddenly Naruto would appear out of nowhere covered in scars, scratches, and giant injuries over him as he'd land on the ground. As Naruto and Sakura would quickly react in shock and would go to check up on Naruto and would ask what happened. Naruto, barely hanging on to consciousness, would tell them that Gaara happened. Although he would say this with a bit of fear and nervousness in his voice. Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that, as that will be all for today. Of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and see you next time. But don't forget, sharing also does help.